hope you enjoy this workout this morning. So we're just going to start the session with a little bit of a mobilization just to loosen off the body, and then we're going to go into the poses. So I'll just invite you to come to a seated position, and we're going to start maybe 4 or 5 minutes just loosening off the neck, the head and the spine. So sitting with a nice tall spine, just gently nod the chin down to the chest and then a quarter turn to your right, and then back down to the center and then to the opposite side. So just gently down, quarter turn, dropping that chin down to the chest as you exhale, and then inhale, just bringing the ear down towards that shoulder. Now, if you're able to, just take a full circle with your neck, and then you're going to reverse each time. Inhaling as you take the head back, exhaling as you bring the head forward. Inhale, head back, and exhale, gently forward. Let's just do that a couple more times. And you're trying to coordinate breath with movement. Inhale, head back, take it right round as far as you can, right round the periphery. And one more time, inhale back and exhale forwards. Beautiful. And then from here, just placing your hands on your shins, and you're just going to arch and curl the spine. So feel like you've been punched and winded, so just round the back, and then inhale, arching again. So as you round the spine, exhale, and as you arch your back, inhale. So chin comes down towards the chest, and then lift the chin up towards the ceiling. Exhale back, inhale forward, and just gently mobilize the spine so that you're loosening up in a very gentle and effortless way. And again, just try to establish a consistent rhythm and a consistent speed here. Particularly coordinating breath with movement. I'm just going to start circling. So think about a clock face, so 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9, or north, east, south, west. It's almost like you've got a hula hoop. It's that kind of action that you want to get. And then let's start to coordinate your breath with the movement. So again, inhale as you come forward and exhale as you go back. Inhale forwards, exhale back. Lovely. And then we're going to reverse that. So go anti-clockwise, the opposite direction now, but the breath is the same. Inhale forwards and exhale as you circle backwards. And you're lifting off the hips, the pelvis and the lumbar spine. And try to breathe through the nose if you're able to. Inhaling forward, exhaling back. And then place one hand down, other arm up in the air. And then we're just going to side bend and release. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, side bend across. Inhale up, exhale to the side. Beautiful. Nice deep breaths through the nose. And exhale. A couple of more minutes mobilizing, and then we're going to start into those nice deep stretches for the body. Now place 4 fingers on the front of your shoulders, thumb at the back. You're going to inhale, twist one direction, and you're going to exhale, twist the other direction. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. So again, just as far as you're able to go, and try to just go at your own pace and at your own speed. There's no right or wrong here. It's just whatever feels good to you. Let's see, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And then release. And I've got one more stretch for you. Just place your hands behind your back and just open out the feet. And just let your knees drop to one side. Now keep your feet and your knees on the floor. One hand in the air, and then lift your hips but not your knees. And then just try to push your hips forward and almost do a little bit of a back bend to open out the front of the hip and the front of the body. Again, don't move the feet, just move the knees to the other side. Take that arm up and push forward, opening up the front of the body. Inhale as you go back, and then exhale as you push forward, driving those hips. And gently press. You might notice you could go to one side more than the other. We'll just do 2 more. And then we'll go into poses for the first chakra, Muladhara chakra. And then release. Okay, so I'm going to invite you to come onto all fours. So hands under shoulders, knees under hips, and then I'm going to get you to come into a lunge position. So you're going to bring that right leg forward. So pretty much that right knee is directly above that right ankle, but it's this back leg. You want to get this knee as far behind this hip as you physically can, so really push it back. If it feels a little bit more comfortable, you can put a cushion under that back knee. Now here's your options. You can have your hands on the floor, or if your hands don't touch the floor, you can put some blocks or cushions here. If you want to go a little deeper, you can put your forearms on the floor or on a block, or you can stay a little bit more upright like this. And you want to feel a stretch at the front of the thigh on that back leg. And from here, we're going to stay here. If you've never done Yin Yoga before, it's a minimum of 3 minutes in each pose. All the poses are on the floor. So the reason we're starting with this pose is because any poses, any asanas for the hips and for the legs are the remit of your first chakra, your base chakra. It's called Muladhara chakra, your first energy center. And it's located at the base of your spine in your perineum, your pelvic floor openings. So any poses that involve the legs or the hips, they are the poses that help stimulate and get the energy moving in that first chakra. So Mul means root, Adhara means support or base. So Muladhara chakra is your root chakra, your base of support. So just a little note on how deep to go into the poses. Yin is the opposite of Yang. So Yang is the sort of more dynamic, fiery, active, more forceful types of yoga, the Ashtangas and the Vinyasas. And Yin is the opposite. It's much more calming, cooling, reflective. So there's no force involved here. It's really about gentle tension held over a longer period of time, like I say, a minimum of 3 minutes. And that's what we're going to do today, 3 minutes minimum. So it's going to be a very uncomfortable 3 minutes if you're forcing it. So leave your ego at the door and don't push. Go gently towards that wall of tension, but don't blast through it here. And whilst you're waiting, just nice, easy breathing. Focus on the breath. Through the nostrils, ideally. Inhaling for a count of 3 minimum. And exhaling for a count of 3 minimum. Through the nose. Long, slow in breath. And slow, deep out breath. And think of the in breath as energizing, uplifting, inspiring. It's full of sun energy, so it's a more heating breath, whereas the exhalation is more calming, cooling, relaxing breath. And when we're trying to do reflective practices like yin, we want to, it's taking us inwards. So it's a more calming energy. So for that reason, try to breathe out a little longer than you breathe in. If you breathe in for 3 counts, maybe breathe out for a minimum 3 counts, up to a maximum of 6 counts, almost twice as long, if you want more relaxation. Now we're gently going to come out of that position. Now what you might find when you come out of a yin pose, you might feel like you're about 95 years old because all the chi, the prana, the energy and the blood stagnate. So coming into the opposite leg now, so bringing that left leg forwards. And again, you might notice a difference between the two sides. It's perfectly normal. There's usually at least a 10% difference. So remember, knee directly above the ankle, okay? If you want a little bit more stretch in this foot, in the Achilles here, you can take the knee in front of the foot. You'll get a stretch in the Achilles as well at the same time. But that's a little bit more pressure on the knee. So you've got any knee issues, keep the knee directly above the ankle. But again, remember it's this leg. Here's the hip flexor that we're trying to stretch. Try to get that knee as far behind the hip as you physically can to open out here. So either hands down, forearms on the floor. You can build your blocks up, placing the hands here, or you can place the hands here if you want just a little bit more stretch on that hip. If you want a little glute stretch, what you can do is just bring this foot into the midline and just drop this knee out to the side. So you're on the side edge of your foot, the sole of your foot is pretty much off the floor, and you'll get a little bit more stretch in the glute and around the hip there. Otherwise, your foot can stay flat. Now ideally, we'd be breathing and we'd have our eyes closed. Because when we close our eyes, when you're doing a pose, it takes you deeper into yourself. So, and it really helps with that reflective practice. So we're kind of removing ourselves from the world of the 5 senses, that constant stimulus, that noise. We want to just log off from our day and just take a bit of time for ourselves. So we come to our inner world. Almost think of yourself like an inner astronaut, exploring your internal world, your inner dimensions. That's the world of thoughts, feelings, emotions, sensations. And it's much easier to feel when we close out that external environment. So sometimes people can feel a little bit vulnerable, a little bit fragile when they're doing Yin Yoga, because when we close out the outside world and we start to explore our inner dimensions, and that incessant chattering ego mind slows down its ramblings and the thoughts start to subside, then you often get a lot of repressed or suppressed memories that bubble up from the subconscious, giving you a chance to process any of that maybe locked trauma or stuck emotions in the body. When we slow down, that tends to bubble up, and that can make us feel a little bit uncomfortable as this stuff comes up. Just breathe through it, allow it, try not to force it back down. It's come up for a reason, to be felt fully, to be processed, and then to be let go of. So really, just breathe through it all. Don't get involved, don't try to interpret or analyze anything that comes up for you. Just breathe and watch. Just passively noticing, just like you're watching a movie, but not getting involved. Lean away from it. You're the silent observer, passively noticing it in the background. And then again, slowly come out of position. And the next pose is a hamstring stretch. Janu Shishasana A, it's called. So you're going to stretch one leg out in front of you. I'm just going to bring the sole of the other foot inwards here. So if it helps you to sit up, if you feel like you're kind of sitting behind yourself, you can always place a yoga block or a cushion. That will help you sit a little bit more upright if you've got a cushion to hand. So again, try not to get obsessed with form and alignment and technique too much here, because that's taken away from that reflective practice. So don't be too concerned with alignment and form here. As normally I would be saying at this point, toes up to the ceiling, try to keep the knee as straight as possible, make sure the leg isn't rolling out to the side, try not to round the back. I'd be saying all of that in a usual yoga class, but in Yin, don't worry too much with what it looks like. Go with what it feels like. Even if it looks like this, or your leg's slightly bent and the knee's rolling out, you just have to ask yourself one question: what does it feel like? If you can feel a hamstring stretch, then you've achieved the objective. So we go into position and find your happy place here. So don't feel like you've got to force anything. Just go to wherever feels good for you. And then you're waiting for your 3 minutes. Now, any hamstring stretch, they're usually quite competitive stretches, which means the ego is involved. So it tries to get the head down towards the knee or as far as it can go. So just bear that in mind here. It's yin, it's not yang, there's no force here. So measure your intensity of stretch on a scale of 1 to 10. Let's say 10 is a really painful stretch and 1 is you can't feel anything at all. And 5 is about average. You're probably looking at about a level 6, maybe 7 at the very most. So I would say a 6 is mild discomfort. It's mildly uncomfortable, but it's certainly not painful. If while you're stretching, it starts to get a little uncomfortable, just pull back. So give yourself that permission now to move within the stretch. It's not classed as fidgeting. It's just you watching the body and responding to the changing needs of the body as the stretch adapts. If you've pushed too much, it will start to get more painful. So pull back or add a prop. If you've gauged it just right, then you'll be able to go a little deeper into that stretch because it won't feel as tight as it did. And then you can go a little deeper. Or you might take away a prop. So give yourself that permission now to move and adjust your position according to the changing needs and sensations of your body as it adapts to the stretch. And while you're holding, again, try to keep your eyes closed as much as you can and focus on the breath. Now the breath through the nostrils, inhaling for 3 counts minimum, exhaling for 3 counts minimum. The breath is going to take you inwards to a deeper layer of self. The vehicle is the breath. So really focus on that. And the breath will take you into the now, the present moment. It will slow down that mental chatter, that incessant noise, background noise. And then slowly come out of position. Now normally in a class I would be telling people to keep their eyes closed here and feel your way into the other side. There's nothing to see here. Feel your way into the other side. Take your time. And we've got 3 minutes on the clock here. Again, just make a mental note if one side feels a little easier, one side feels a little tighter than the other. Try to get out of the thinking mind and into the feeling heart. Too much energy goes into the mind, into the brain. Come into the body, into the heart via the breath. Long, slow in-breath, slow, deep out-breath. And it takes a minimum of 3 minutes to move the fascia. So of course we're stretching the muscles, but we're also stretching and releasing the fascia, that kind of cling film, candy floss-like substance that binds all your muscles, surrounds all your organs. And the component of fascia, if you haven't seen fascia before, you might think of a packet of chicken breasts where you take the skin off, and just before you see the fleshy part of the meat, there's like this white film, that white substance, that's fascia made up of collagen cells. The part of fascia that we are interested in affecting is the extracellular matrix. And 3 things affect fascia. Because we want that extracellular matrix to go from a thick, viscous substance to that of a consistency of runny honey. And it takes a minimum of 3 minutes for that to happen, for the magic to happen. All you have to do is sit patiently and breathe and be, and the magic happens in the background all on its own. So the 3 things that affect fascia is temperature. So you've got a nice warm room, your body is warm, things are more malleable, more flexible, they'll loosen much quicker. The pH of the body, the acidity, so again, keeping nice and hydrated. And the last thing is mechanical stress, which is exactly what we are doing now, placing a stretch upon the body, and the fascia will just start to respond accordingly. And then we gently coming out of position here. And then just loosen off. You might need to do a sort of few interim movements in between just to kind of loosen up the body. So the next pose is pigeon pose. And I'm going to give you a couple of options here in case you've got any knee issues. So the first option is what we call deer pose. So you've got 2 90-degree angles here. And sometimes it's easy to use the front of your mat here. So you might just put one knee at the edge of your mat and your heel at the edge of the mat. And this knee is directly in front of the hip. And then this other knee goes level with your hip. So it's not in front of the hip and it's not behind the hip. So 2 90-degree angles here. And then you would just fold your torso over your shin. And you're trying to aim for your nose to be next to the big toe. And you should feel a stretch kind of underneath the butt cheek, maybe a little bit on the inner groin, on that front leg as you lean forward. Otherwise, your full pigeon pose, you're going to straighten the back leg. So you might bring this heel in towards your pubic bone a little bit. You would straighten the back leg. Now the knee mustn't be pointing out to the side. It's got to be pointing down because your hip pushes down. So it's level. So you're not rolling onto the side here. So the hip, if you imagine headlamps on the hip bones, they're pointing their high beam down to the floor. That's it. And again, if you feel that you're up here, you might just want to get a yoga block or a cushion and put it underneath that butt cheek here on that. So you're sitting on a cushion rather than your hip floating in the air. You might also get a cushion in front. Either you can put your forearms on it or you can put your head on it. Whatever feels good for you. And you monitor the stretch. Now, if your heel is right into the bottom and your knee is pointing forward, there's not going to be much stretch here. So we try to move the heel away from the pubic bone. The further forward it is, the harder, but also the more likely your hip is to rotate. And this front knee is kind of pointing out to the side at a 45-degree angle. Okay. So now we start to think about not just the physical aspect of the pose. Again, you can be up here, forearms, or resting your forehead on your two hands. What we now start to think about is the energetic aspect of the pose. So the physical aspect of yoga is what most people know in the West as yoga. But where the real yoga is, you know, trying to change your own body's energy, and the real yoga is working with the mind and knowing that we're bigger than our mind. I'm not this body, I'm not this mind, I'm not these thoughts, I'm not these emotions or feelings, because they all change. So when we talk about the chakras, we're talking about your energy centers. You can affect your own body energy. So if you're not so familiar with the chakras, just kind of think of that life force energy, the prana they call it in yoga, or chi in the Chinese tradition. That life force energy that flows through us, nourishing our organs or our tissues. I kind of use the example of watering some flowers in the garden. And whilst you're watering those flowers, they're getting nourished in the light of the sun, and they're blossoming and they're blooming. But let's say someone comes along and stands on that garden hose, and the water now can't get through to those flowers. So the flowers start to wilt and they start to wither, and they're not functioning or growing or blossoming as they should, because they're not getting that energy, that nourishment. And it's a bit like us, when we're not getting that full flow of energy, we're not in as optimal health as we could be. So it's to really try to keep that life force energy moving through the body, just like taking your foot off that garden hose again. So lots of things can impede that flow of energy. One of the main things is stuck emotions, when we have the normal stresses and strains of everyday life, and we're not fully processing whatever's happened to us, either consciously or unconsciously. So that life force starts to stagnate. Now gently come out of position, and we're going to change legs. So bringing that other leg forwards. And that knee pointing out to the side. And find your place where you feel that you could stay there for a minimum of 3 minutes. So, processed foods, polluted environment, and again, not processing fully the stresses and traumas that we all have to endure, will start to slow down and stagnate that prana, that chi, that life force energy that runs through the body. So we want to stimulate each energy center so that it starts to flow again. And of course it's natural for people when they're going through any kind of trauma to block it out. It's painful, it's overwhelming. And when that happens, the trap door of the subconscious starts to open and all of those feelings and emotions get shut away deep within the body, where they remain stuck until we're fully ready and in a position where we can process them and face them, breathe through it all, and then of course let it go. So, you know, sometimes you'll get those repressed memories and some feelings and sensations and emotions that will start to bubble up from that trapdoor when we slow down, when we go beyond the chattering mind. That's when these kind of things can bubble up. So don't try to push it back down again. Just breathe through it, come into the now, and try to let it all go. It's come up for a reason. So Muladhara chakra, the first energy center, your perineum at the base of the spine, the pelvic floor, you can kind of pull in those pelvic floor muscles, your mula bandha, by constricting your anal sphincter, like to stop yourself breaking wind, stop yourself passing urine, your urethra. And if you can start to visualize a red vortex, you know how water kind of goes down a plug hole. It's like a vortex, a spinning vortex. Or you can imagine a glowing red spinning ball of light at the base of your spine. Just use it with the power of your imagination and visualization. Just imagine that glowing spinning ball of light representing Muladhara chakra, and set the intention through thought alone. I balance the energy of Muladhara chakra. And then very gently come out of position. And we come into another pose. So if you're here, open out the legs as wide as feels comfortable for you. And again, if you feel you're kind of sitting behind yourself, then just get a yoga block or a cushion, place it underneath you. And again, don't worry if your knees are slightly bent. Do whatever feels good for you, and don't force it, as long as you don't force it. So again, you can sit upright, or you can reach forward, hands on the floor, elbows on the floor, or you can have your head on the floor, wherever feels right for you. Also, if you've got yoga blocks, sometimes you can build up the blocks like this and just place your head on the block, whatever feels right for you, as long as there's no force involved here. So again, ideally eyes are closed and you're just breathing slowly in through the nose for a count of 3, out through the nose for a count of 3. So again, this pose is stretching and opening out the legs. There's a little bit of the second chakra here as well, Svadhisthana chakra, because there's a little bit of an opening in that lower back. But let's just focus on the first energy center, Muladhara chakra, to begin with. And as well as setting the intention, I balance the energy of Muladhara chakra. You want to think of the qualities of this chakra when it's in balance. So I always remember this chakra as all of the S's: safety, survival, stability, security. It's where our spiritual journey starts. So it's to do with our survival needs. And it's about being grounded and connected. So the element out of the 5 elements that is associated with this first energy center is the earth. So grounded and connected to the earth, Gaia, Pachamama, Mother Earth. So what you want to visualize here to be grounded in your energy, so your energy is not out there, is to visualize with your powers of imagination, roots, like the roots of a tree, growing out of your feet, growing out of your hips and pelvis, going down through the floor, into the earth, spreading far and wide. A bit like the roots of a tree. When a tree has good, solid foundation, it has the ability to weather life storms in the same way that if we are stable and grounded in our own selves, we also have the ability to weather our own storms of life, the stresses and strains and traumas. So set an affirmation whilst you're practicing. I feel grounded and connected. I am safe and secure. So just putting the energy out there in word format. This is the law of attraction, right? That you have a vibe. It's a subconscious vibe. So if you don't feel grounded or connected or safe or secure, and then you're saying that as an affirmation, it can actually make you feel worse. So insert the word choose. I choose to feel safe and secure. Then it's more acceptable to your belief system. Slowly coming out of position. And just shake out those legs. So from here, we're going to come down onto the floor. And I want you to do a spinal twist here. So we're going into actually the second and the third chakras. So you're going to be lying on your back. And you're going to bring your left knee in towards your chest. And then you're going to take it across the body like this. But you've got to keep your you've got to keep your left shoulder, or both shoulders, on the floor. So don't worry if your foot, when your knee rather, doesn't touch the floor. You can put it on some cushions or a block if you need them. Otherwise, just take that knee across and your head turns in the opposite direction. So I'm crossing my left knee over to the right and I'm turning my head to the left. And I want to really keep that left shoulder on the floor. Now this other bottom leg, it goes away from the front leg. So push it away from that front foot towards the back end of your mat. You can also bend that knee and grab hold of the foot with the opposite hand. So I've got my left hand on my right foot here. I'm going to push my right thigh back. Otherwise, you can just keep that leg straight. Whatever feels good for you. And so now you're opening out that lower back and the abdomen. So we're coming into second chakra here, which is what we call Svadhisthana chakra. And the colour here is orange. So you're trying to visualise a glowing, spinning orange vortex or an orange ball of light just above your coccyx at the level of the sacrum below your belly button. So these energy centres are located at various points along the spine. So just below the navel, just above your coccyx, is Svadhisthana chakra, second energy centre. The element associated with this chakra is water. Water signifies flow. And it's all about going with the flow. And it also signifies emotions. So the theme of the second energy centre is feelings. It's all about the feels. Feelings and emotions. So when we don't fully process feelings and our emotions get stuck, that can result in the energy stagnating around the lower back. So we might get issues with our lower back. And the organs that are governed by the second energy center, think about where it is, just above that sacrum. It's all the sexual organs, so it's all about sensuality, sexuality, passion, pleasure, desire, intimacy, connection, fertility. Otherwise, we get issues in those areas when the energy isn't circulating as it should. And then gently release. Now, before we do the other side, we're going to go into happy baby pose. Okay? So we're going to bring the legs up, hopefully about a 90-degree angle. And then we're going to reach for the feet. Now you can hold the feet from the outside like this, or you can hold from the inside with your palms facing out. And you're applying gentle pressure, pushing down gently on the soles of the feet so that knees come towards the floor. Try not to bring the heels towards the butt here. They're here. So again, we're doing this for 3 minutes. And again, we're opening out around that lower back and also around the hips. So set the intention through thought alone. Put the vibration out there. Every thought has a frequency, it has a vibration. Think of it, your thoughts as like a little boomerangs going out into the universe. They have a vibration. The universe is indifferent. There's no good, bad, right or wrong. It just is. So think of that law of attraction. It's whatever you put out there in thought format or word format is going to come back to you. So I balance the energy of Svadhisthana chakra, second energy center. And because it's to do with feelings and emotions, set yourself some affirmations. I let go. What are you letting go of? Any stuck emotions, any negative emotions. I let go and I go with the flow. So going with the flow of life means that you're not trying to control anything. You're not swimming against the tide. There's no resistance to what is. And that's being mindful. Remember, definition of mindful. Paying attention on purpose, non-judgmentally to the present moment. So it's an acceptance of the presence. Whether what you're being presented with is painful or not very nice. There's an acceptance there. Not trying to fight it or resist it, because that's what causes the pain and suffering. We label things as what we don't like, something. And then the resistance starts, and then the mind starts, and then the suffering starts. So it's really just to come to a place of acceptance. Breathe through things, because nothing lasts forever. No feelings, emotions last forever. So if you're feeling sad or angry, just feel the feels. And then it passes through the body and it goes. I think I read once that anger lasts for about 12 seconds if you don't resist it. Just allow it to pass through. And let it go. So setting the affirmation, I let go and I go with the flow. Don't swim against the tide. Pay attention to the signpost from the universe. It's always guiding you. And also remember, everything that happens is for your own evolvement. It might not feel like that at the time, but everything is serving a purpose. There's a lesson there. Maybe there's some karma to pay. And then very gently release. Give your knees a little hug and just a little rock side to side as you just loosen off. Then we're going to stretch out that left leg. And I'm going to change the opposite side now. Taking the right knee across to the left and keeping that opposite shoulder on the floor. Try not to let it lift off the floor, or maybe your leg's gone too far. Now again, with this bottom leg, we're going to push it backwards towards the opposite end of the mat. We can bend the knee and bring the heel to the butt if you want a different variation of that stretch, or you can just leave the leg straight, whatever feels right for you. And again, just note any differences between the two sides. And then again, settle in and just focus on the breath. Inhaling for 3 and exhaling for a count of 3. So what you'll notice now is because we're compressing the abdomen and the stomach, we're also stimulating the energy around the digestive organs. We're compressing that in a way that maybe if you made a fist with your hand and you really squeezed tight until your knuckles went white, and the knuckles go white because you're stopping the blood. You're compressing it so that when you let go, the blood and the chi and the energy rushes through again. So you're changing that energy up. In the same way you're compressing the abdomen here, squishing your internal organs, giving them a massage. So this is all around the navel area. So this pose is also for the 3rd chakra, Manipura chakra. Literal translation means city of shining jewels. It's in the navel. So you can imagine a yellow vortex or a glowing, spinning yellow ball of light right at your navel center, navel and solar plexus area. Or you can imagine the sun or a sunflower or a lemon with the powers of your visualization and imagination, and imagine that spinning in a healthy way. Because the chakra can be underactive or overactive. So for example, at the 2nd chakra, because it's to do with your emotions, you can be under emotional or over emotional, spinning too slowly, spinning too fast. So here at Manipura chakra, 3rd energy center, the element is fire. Fire in your belly. This is the element of change, growth, transformation. So a lot of people's spiritual journey, there's a lot of work, spiritual journey starts here. It's your ego center. So this is all about the self, self-belief, self-confidence, self-assurance. We store a lot of anger here, fire in the belly. Too little fire, we're sluggish, lethargic, maybe a bit lazy, slightly depressed, withdrawn. Too much fire, angry, irritable, aggressive. Too much heat in the body. So again, with the power of your intention and your mind, set the intention, I balance the energy of Manipura chakra, 3rd energy center. And then set the affirmation. I am confident and self-assured. And if you don't feel the words, if it brings up feelings of, oh, I'm not confident, then insert the word choose. I choose to be confident. And then gently release. Again, you might give the knees a little hug, a little shake around. And then placing the feet back down. And we're going to come to the heart opening pose here, bridge pose. So I'm going to lift those legs up. I'm going to give you a couple of choices here.
Now, you can grab hold of the feet with your hands if you can reach the feet, and then lift up and really kind of squish those shoulder blades together, because elbows want to turn in. So your elbows aren't wide, they're going to turn in, and you're going to really move the shoulder blades out of the way, squeeze them towards each other, and then push the hips up. And that's kind of opening the heart. You can place the hands just underneath your hips and support yourself like this. Or if you've got a yoga block or some cushions, you can put them underneath your butt. And the higher you have your cushions, the more it's going to open out the chest and open out the heart. Or you can put them a little higher. You can put your feet on a block or a cushion, and you can put them a little higher, a block here, underneath your sacrum. You can put your feet under there as well. So that you can have props that are going to push you up if you need. Otherwise, you can just use your own hands, like this, or like this, whatever feels right for you. Or you can put your arms like this, and this is a little bit more opening in the heart. So do what feels good for you today. And I want you to visualize in the center of your chest, at the area of your heart, a green vortex or glowing, spinning ball of light, representing Anahata chakra, the heart center, fourth energy center. Now, when the heart is in balance, you get all the good qualities: joy, peace, love, compassion, gratitude, forgiveness, harmony, kindness, balance, all the goodies of the heart. But the heart closes down, usually due to some kind of loss. And then when it closes down, either consciously, don't go there, you hear people say, I don't want to talk about it, it's too painful, too overwhelming. So often that is unconscious, it's too much to bear. So the heart energy closes down in those instances. And then we get the shadow quality, things like grief, sadness. Or if we've been betrayed in some way, then there might be jealousy, bitterness, resentment, unforgiveness. We get the opposite qualities, and nobody wants them. So poses that open and stimulate that energy around the heart is what we call all the chest openers, all the back bends. So this is a very gentle back bend, very gentle chest opener that we're doing today. Any spinal twists that mobilize your thoracic spine shifts the energy around the heart. Any kind of arm work also stimulates the energy around the heart center. So again, with the powers of your intention, just say to yourself, put it out there, I balance the energy of Anahata chakra, fourth energy center. And breathe in that color green into the center of your chest. And then set the affirmation. Because this is all about love, and you know, I love and accept myself. If you don't love yourself, it's very difficult to love another. It starts with you. And again, if you feel any resistance to those words, for whatever reason, if you don't feel enough self-love, just insert the word choose. I choose to love and accept myself. So the first three chakras, the lower triangle is what they're known as. There's a lot of work there. In each chakra, there's a certain amount of work, a certain type of work that needs to be done. So first chakra is all about you know, stability and security, finding our way in the world, our survival needs. Second chakra, learning to process our emotions, go with the flow. Third chakra, willpower. It's how we project ourselves in the world, feeling confident. And then just slowly come down and just give those knees a little hug here. Let them move from side to side. Yeah, so our third center, our ego center. If we've got too much ego, it's all about the name and fame, power grabber, my way or the highway, which often results in dysfunctional relationships. Fourth center, love, unconditional love for self and others. Forgiveness. So we graduate from the lower triangle, which is all about me. And it's our animal self. The fourth center, the heart, we graduate to we. We start to think about others. And that's the human aspect. And then gently release. And now we're into the upper triangle. So we're now going to stimulate this is the angelic realm, the higher self, where we've done a lot of work. We've mastered some of the lessons from the lower chakras. We're much more conscious, we're much more aware. So the throat chakra, Vishuddhi chakra, is the fifth energy center. So to compress the throat, we're going to come into Halasana, plow pose. So this is where the legs go above the head. You see the throat is compressed in this position. Now, don't worry if your feet don't touch the floor or if your knees are bent. It doesn't matter. Or if your back is here. And in fact, you might even just prop a couple of cushions underneath your lumbar spine and even just put your legs in the air. And that is good enough. And draw the chin towards the chest. So don't force anything. It can be very, very basic. So once you've felt the physical aspect of the pose, again, we come to the energetic aspect. You know, we're talking about Vishuddhi chakra here, the fifth energy center. And from here, you want to interlace the fingers like this, or you can place the hands on the back, or you can just have the hands down by your side or even above your head, whatever feels right. For those of you that want to, you can go into a shoulder stand, whatever pose feels right for you. But again, don't worry about going deep into the pose. In fact, with this particular pose, if your legs are straight and your feet are on the floor, that stretch will go into your neck. But if your tightness is mid-back, then you want to have some of your back on the floor, like here. If your tightness is in the lower back, you want to have a little bit more of your spine on the floor. Okay? Just from a physical standpoint. Now, when you're here, visualize a blue vortex in the throat, or you can imagine a blue spinning ball of light center around the back of the neck, and it's a sky blue spinning ball of light. And Vishuddhi chakra is all about communication. It's how we express ourselves. So speech, language, singing, how do we communicate? The element is ether. The element for the heart was air. Now it's ether for the throat. So it's about healthy communication, about speaking up for ourselves, speaking our truth, being honest, open, transparent, speaking kindly, being a good listener, When it's out of balance, we gossip, we interrupt. We might tell half-truths, not being a good listener. So it's all about self-expression. So again, set the intention. I balance the energy of Vishuddhi chakra, 5th energy center. And then set the affirmation. I communicate in a healthy way. I speak my truth. I speak up for myself and what I believe in. I'm a good listener. If you feel uncomfortable in any of these positions, of course, feel free to come out of it at any time. Nice deep breathing. And then very slowly come out of position, taking your time. And as always, just give those knees a little hug, a little rock from side to side. And then we're just going to come into Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined butterfly pose, just as a loosening off from that last one. So you're going to bring your feet and knees together, and then just let those knees drop out to the side. Now you can either have your arms down by your side, out here, or you can bend the arms. And that's a bit more of a heart opener here. If you've got a yoga block or a little cushion, you can put that under your sort of bra strap area and just to elevate, so you've got a little bit more of a back bend going on here. And that's a bit more of a heart opener, a chest opener here as well. So just close the eyes and observe how you feel internally. So periodically ask yourself, what's going on for me right now? What am I thinking? Are my thoughts negative, positive? Are they neutral? Would I like this particular train of thought to lead me or create my future? Is it leading me in the direction of where I want to go? Observe the quality of your thinking. Thinking is a habit. Are your glass half full or your glass half empty? Just notice the quality of your thoughts. What am I feeling right now? If you had an internal weather chart, what would that look like? Would it be cloudy, grey skies, miserable? Would it be frosty and numb? Would it be blue sky and sunshine? What would that internal weather chart read like for you right now? If you had one word to describe how you're feeling, what would that word be right here, right now? Would it be relaxed, bored,
frustrated, chilled. Just what word would it be? Because often when you're sitting here in a yin pose for 3 minutes, the body gets restless because it's not used to being still, particularly if you're a doer, if you're a type A personality. It can often be torture if you're a yang person. Ask a yang person to do ashtangas, vinyasas, hard work, being active. They're great at it. Ask them to do yin, it's like torture. But of course, that's the very thing that they need to do, to work on. We've lost the art of being because society doesn't value it, does it? Gotta produce, gotta be productive. And so it's hard for people to sit still. The body is restless because it just ain't used to it. But like anything, the more you practice, the better you get. And then gently release, bring those knees together. Slowly roll onto your side. And then from here, we're going to come to Ajna Chakra. It's your third eye in the center of your forehead, the sixth energy center. We're going to come into child pose, so knees are apart, feet together. If your butt doesn't touch your heels, you can put some cushions underneath your sit bones. You can also put a cushion here just to place your head, your forehead on the floor. So we're trying to get our third eye in contact with the mat or with the cushion. And you can have your arms behind you. I prefer to have mine at kind of 10 to 2 here. So think of you've got two physical eyes that see the present. Your third eye sees into the future. To do with your psychic abilities, clairvoyance, your sixth sense, your inner knowing, insight, intuition, wisdom. They are the qualities of the sixth energy center. So here visualize a glowing, spinning indigo vortex, the color of the night sky, just in the center of your forehead, in between your eyebrows. Or you can imagine a glowing, spinning, dark blue ball of light at your third eye. And again, with the power of intention, with your words, say, I balance the energy of Ajna Chakra, sixth energy center. You can also roll the head from left to right, a couple of inches either way, just to stimulate the energy around the center of the forehead if you wish. Or you can just remain still, whatever feels right for you. And again, set an affirmation. I open my third eye. I awaken my intuition. I recognize my spiritual potential. Breathing and focus on the breath through the nostrils. Inhaling, minimum count of 3. Exhaling, minimum count of 3.
And then gently, slowly come out of position. And with final pause, so anything that takes you into meditation is going to stimulate the energy of Sahasrara chakra, the crown chakra. Okay? So instead of sitting up and to meditate, we're just going to lie down in Shavasana. So we finish the class in a nice, relaxed way. So I'll invite you to lie on your back. If it feels uncomfortable for you to lie with two straight legs, you can put cushions underneath your knees. Or if you prefer, you can lie on one side, or you can just bend the knees. Otherwise, you've got two straight legs here. Feet are a little bit wider than hip width apart. Now, don't rush Shavasana, because it really solidifies. Lying in Shavasana is a gift you can give to yourself. The gift of relaxation and just being, particularly if you find it hard. So just put your arms out. Let's go into Shavasana. It's one of the most important things that you can do. It sort of solidifies the energy and the work. It seals it in, the work that you've just done to shift that energy. So we're going to start by just creating tension in the body, just so that we can recognize if there's any there, and then release it. So let's start off with the feet. What I want you to do is flex the feet, bring your toes towards the sky, towards your nose, and hold it. And as you do that, I want you to inhale as you flex your feet, and then just hold your breath while you flex the feet. Hold the breath, hold the breath, hold the breath, and then exhale and just let the feet flop. Now I want you to tense up your calf muscles. So you're going to point your feet away as you tense the calf muscles, tighten your calf muscles and your quads at the same time. So pull up your kneecaps. On the in-breath, hold it. Hold the breath as you tense the calf muscles and tense the quads, and then exhale. It's like a sigh. Let go, relax the legs, relax the feet. Now on the in-breath, tighten your butt muscles, lift your hips. Hold the breath as you squeeze your butt, and then exhale, relax the butt, relax the tension. On the in-breath, squeeze your belly like there's a big heavy weight going to land on your belly. Tense your stomach, hold the breath, hold the breath, hold the breath, hold the breath, and then exhale, relax it, let it go. That same heavy weight, take a deep breath in. And now tense your chest muscles, tense them, hold the breath, hold the breath, hold the breath. Hold it. And then exhale, let go. Now breathe in, squeeze and make a fist and stretch your arms, rigid, hold the breath, keep squeezing, and then just let your arms go. And then inhale, screw your face up into a little ball, tighten all of your facial muscles, purse your lips, hold the breath, and then relax. Just let the head flop from side to side a couple of times, loosening off the neck, and then gently relax, eyes closed, soften the brow, relax the eyes, release the jaws. Let your shoulders melt away from your ears. Soften the chest and belly. Allow the pelvis to feel heavy and the legs to just sink into the floor. And feel the meeting points between body and floor. Back of the head, shoulder blades, back of the hands, shoulder blades, pelvis and hips, calves and heels, and feel those meeting points equally and evenly. And Just feel the rise and fall of the chest and abdomen with each and every breath. Now, without opening your eyes, just bend your knees and roll just gently onto your side into a fetal position, placing your hands wherever feels comfortable for you. And just notice your energy and how you feel. Hopefully a little calmer, a little more relaxed. And then gently open your eyes but remain still. Just bring yourself back into the room, into your body, into your environment in a gentle way. And when you feel ready, tuck your chin in. The head is the last thing to come up, so the head goes down. Just gently come up to a sitting position. Sitting upright. And then we finish the practice by coming into a place of gratitude. So let's bring your hands to the heart center. And first and foremost, express gratitude to yourself for making the effort to do class today, to do something positive, to nourish your body, your mind, your soul, doing something for you. Express gratitude to you. Second, to the practice of yoga, which gives us so much. And finally, express gratitude to all the teachers that have gone before us, all the great teachers, the yogis, the sages, the rishis, the shamans, all the great teachers who've passed down this ancient wisdom over the years for the benefit of us here today. And lastly, give a little shout out to anyone or anything that is personal to you, past or present, that you're grateful for. Give a little shout out to them. Namaste. Thank you for joining me today, and I wish you a beautiful day. Thank you.